This is us just off the bus. Had a lovely time. Did you have a lovely time?
No.
Did you not have a lovely time? How did you not have a lovely time? How did you get it?
Because you can't sleep.
You didn't sleep? Yes, that's so sleep. See, what did you used to wander out through there?
Okay.
Obviously changed that in the last many years.
Well, it's more fun to sleep in a bed than a bus.
Right, but I must have been asleep for a lot because
You were.
how'd you know?
Because I was listening to music for a lot of it. And you also slept on me. And then if I moved, you would wake up and then you'd fall asleep on me again.
Okay, well,
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that that's how I knew.
actually, we need to go to the road parallel to this,
Mm-hmm.
and then that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Well, that's the sleepy bus update. Well, let's send your mum a message.
Mm-hmm.
So where are we?
It's like Green Park.
Yes, it says Green Park. Why are we in Green Park?
Because we got here stupid early, because that's the only time the bus arrived. I've got like 5 hours till kick-off, so just hanging around.
5 hours? I really didn't think it was quite as bad as that. You could go to Crystal Palace if you wanted.
That's what I said, and you said it was a stupid idea.
Well, it's an hour in the wrong direction, but all you get to do is you see fake dinosaurs.
It's probably not worth it, because I want to be at the stadium at least an hour before kick-off.
Right, so the kick-off's at what?
12:30.
So you want to be there about 11, half 11,
Yeah.
and it's currently just back of 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you get 3 hours before you want to be there, but it's going to take an hour or so to get there anyhow.
Yeah.
So you probably want to leave here in about 2 hours. You can hang about here for a couple of hours.
I will do that.
You can go for a wander, you can look at the war cabinet rooms, Trafalgar Square's just up there.
Yeah, I'll entertain myself. It's all good.
Okie dokie. Well, there we are,
Mm-hmm.
reporting from Green Park of London. So this insanely great looking building behind me is 55 Broadway, which was the headquarters for London Transport. I think it's mostly shops and possibly apartments now, and it's one of the things we owe to Frank Pick, who tried to sort of unify the look of the subway a wee bit. It didn't really work, because you can always tell the difference between a Holden station and a Green station. It's still insanely great, and I'm about to get a train from here over to Whitechapel and then down to Crystal Palace, which is not a sensible way to do it, but there's a reason why I want to do it that way. I take it back, it looks like it still is used by London Transport. I thought they gave it up a few years ago. Just waiting for a district line to Whitechapel. If I remember correctly, there's something a bit unusual before we get into Aldgate Station. But if I remember correctly, you're never going to see this. That's a bit unusual. One of the reasons I wanted to go to Whitechapel because it's unusual in that the overground is under the underground. And I know you're all wanting to say underground, overground, but that's somewhere else. But anyway, the overground, as you can see from that sign there, is below the underground. This is the overground, which is under the underground, which is up there. Bit unusual. The other reason I wanted to get this train from Whitechapel to the south side is because this overground goes underground. It goes very underground. It goes under the river. And it goes under the river through Brunel's Tunnel, which was one of the first tunnels dug, if not the first tunnel dug under the Thames. It wasn't really an issue. There was a bit of leakage problem. The river got in once or twice, but they did manage to do it. First, it wasn't a great success. There was a railway going through it and it gets used all the time. But that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go via Whitechapel to Crystal Palace. It's maybe not the most direct route, but it does let me go through this tunnel. This is Crystal Palace Station. It's a lot more station than it really needs to be, and that's because 130, 140 years ago, the Crystal Palace moved from Hyde Park to Crystal Palace, who knew? And then in the 1930s it burned down. So all this station, the roof's not original. The original roof was, they thought it was unsafe, so they took it off, then put it back on again in the 80s, I think, maybe 90s. Anyway, it's much more station than it really needs to be. There was about a dozen people got off that train there. Anyway, I'm going to go look at the Crystal Palace now. Well, I'm going to go look at the dinosaurs, which used to be the Crystal Palace. This is what's left of the Crystal Palace, and there is an argument to say that sometimes ruins have a grandeur of their own, and I always felt this one did have a grandeur of its own, even in the state it's in now, where most of it's gone. It would have been nice to see it as it really looked, but there is something a wee bit special about it, just in bits. And obviously we don't have the option of seeing the real thing anymore. There is an arch up there which shows you the height of the arches along the front of the building, to give you an idea of the scale, but you just really have to look at it and you can see how far the front went. It was actually bigger here than it was in Hyde Park. When they moved it to Sydenham, they enlarged it and changed the design a bit. It's still called Crystal Palace, but it wasn't the same as Paxton's original version of it. It's just great. It's a really nice park, it's got great ruins, and it's also got some dinosaurs. This is one of the dinosaurs in Crystal Palace. They're famously wrong. The iguanodon here has got a spike in its nose. It's really its thumb. But they didn't find one with two thumbs until years later. So because they only found one, they thought it might be a spike. Now, I think this is the strength of science, because when new information came along, we changed the idea. And instead of sticking with it must be a spike, you're like, oh, what must it be? It's a thumb. And these were just left because it's not changing them, they're over time. But I think it shows how science progresses by getting new information and making a new idea. This is London. There's Victorian brickwork everywhere, but this one I especially like. It's a bridge arch just before Crystal Palace Station, but not only does it arch over the road, it does it at an angle, and the brickwork's angled as well, and it just looks great. Maybe it's quite normal, maybe it was really common back then, I don't know, but I've liked it for years. This is the Horniman Museum, sort of near Forest Hill. It's famous for wild building, things in glass cases, and the walrus. Oh, the walrus? Stay right there. Now, this walrus was stuffed before a lot of people knew what a walrus looked like, and because of that, it's a bit overstuffed. So instead of being a wrinkly sort of walrus, it's this. But it made it all the more famous because it's the only one. Who thought the Science Museum on a Saturday afternoon was a good idea? Well, anyway, this is the command module for Apollo 10. It got almost to the moon, but not quite to the moon. It had Gene Cernan, Stafford, I can't remember who else. Gene Cernan was the last person to ever stand on the moon, but he didn't actually land on this one because this one wasn't supposed to land. This one got close to the moon and then backed up. It did everything that 11 did apart from landing. It scoped out some of the places 11 was likely to land. It's going this way anyway, it's fine. To check if there were rocks and stuff. But it didn't actually land. Now the story is, it's pointing to me, it's okay. This is the lens of this side. The story is, NASA was worried that they might try to land on the moon. So they underfueled the lunar module and also made it slightly too heavy. It wasn't quite the same as the lunar module that Apollo 11 had, because they thought we get three highly motivated guys here, they might just try to land. They didn't, but who knows what might have happened. So anyway, this is Apollo 10. Did all the stuff, did all the rendezvousing, circularising the orbit, everything that 11 did, apart from landing. There were some people who thought they should just have gone for it on 10, but they decided to have one more dry run to try some of the lunar rendezvous stuff that they weren't too sure about. But that's the real one right there. The lander they've got next door is fake, but this is the real Apollo 10 command module.